Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. Saturday night for me. I'm recording this before the live stream tonight, but uh, just had a thought and thought I'd run it by you guys for Sunday morning. It's something that we don't talk about ever in the prepper community is every once in a while stop and smell the roses. I had a neighbor stop by today, kind of came around, took a look at what we were doing here, and said, "Oh my God, your place is so beautiful. You guys have done so much work on this place since you got here." And this was, before Mrs. P and I were out working our ass off again today in the yard. And so when I was done, I took a shower, came outside, and decided to sit out here on the porch. I was just probably been out here for an hour and a half, just sitting here, watching the dogs play in the yard and just kind of looking around and going, you know, we actually have done a really nice job. Got a long way to go, but it looks so much better than it did before. And it's something that we kind of need to stop and think about as preppers, because a lot of times, and y'all can probably agree with me, we get overly consumed in our prepping, and it becomes a full-time job 24/7. And you go, where'd my life go? When did I stop and smell the roses? Okay. And as I was sitting here this evening and just kind of looking around, and I had mowed the lawn on Friday, and we got out and did some planting today. And what happens if the world doesn't blow up? Okay. What happens if all of a sudden Joe Biden doesn't win in 2024 and we get somebody in who's competent and, you know, straightens the ship out, and we don't have a threat of war with China or Russia, or the economy gets back to normal and we can afford groceries or whatever. And you go, I don't get those years back. You know, I just look out here, and there's always a pride and ownership of anything that you have, okay? I mean, you go back to being a teenager and, oh my God, you got your first car and you were so proud of that. Or you had your first child and you were so proud of that, okay? And I mean, and whatever. I mean, your first house, your first apartment, I mean, we can all remember the days when finally we moved out of mom and dad's house and we had our first place of our own and how proud we were. And as we get older, we have a little bit more in the way of resources and we can do a little bit more. But we need to stop every once in a while and go, I got to live life while I have it, because none of us are promised tomorrow. None of us know whatsoever if a medical emergency is going to happen, a car accident, whatever is going to happen, and all of a sudden you're done. You don't get a do-over. There is no reset button in the game of life. This isn't a video game. And yes, we all need to prep as best we can, just in case something happens. But the whole point of prepping is just in case. Nothing is guaranteed. Nobody, I don't care who they are, can tell you that the end of the world is tomorrow or next week or next month or next year or next decade or next century or whatever. But we don't know when we're going to be in a box, okay? 6 feet under, and that's it. You got to prep, no question. But you got to enjoy your life too. You got to do what makes you happy. if that means, hey, you know what? I'm taking a day off of prepping and I'm going fishing, or I'm going to play with the kids in the backyard today, or I'm going to play with my dogs, or I'm going on vacation, or whatever would be. You got to live it well you can, because time marches on and none of us are guaranteed it tomorrow, period. Okay. A lot of what Mrs. P and I do here is prepping oriented, but it's also to be happy. And your happiness is a prep, believe it or not, because, you know, she says to me, "Oh my God, you're working too hard. You need to take a break. You need to take a day off." My happy place is when I'm working. Okay, I spent an entire career working with this. I like to do this because it gets me away from the thinking of what's Biden going to screw up this time, and how am I going to deal with it? And I look around. It's like, okay, digging a hole and putting plants on the ground. Yeah, it's going to provide me food. Okay, maybe it's putting flowers in. Yeah, it's going to bring the pollinators in that are going to help the food produce. Sure, right? Okay. But it's also making the world around me a little more beautiful, that I can wake up in the morning and let the dogs out, okay, grab my cup of coffee, not watch my own video. I just love when you guys say that. First thing in the morning, I grab my cup of coffee and watch your video, and I appreciate that, don't get me wrong. But, where I can go sit on the porch here and I can look at something that's pretty. And besides the fact that the air conditioner just came on, okay, I'm listening to the birds, watching the hummingbirds, looking, finally the trees are starting to get relatively decently leafed out. And I look at this, the dogwoods are in bloom. And I just look and I go, I live in a beautiful place. And I'm doing my best to make it more beautiful. Why? Because it's my happiness. It's something that makes me tick. And there's a lot of people in this world that go through life miserable. All they want to do is bitch. Okay? I don't want to bitch 100% of the time. I bitch enough, you guys know that. But it's nice to come out. Here it is on a Saturday evening. It's about 8 o'clock. And, I'm looking at everything that I've accomplished here that makes me a happier person. Like I said, listening to the birds. I can hear boats out on the lake occasionally and stuff like that. There's people being happy, okay? Who knows if they've got any food put back? Not my concern, okay? But I know if I want to go out fishing tomorrow, I know I've got plenty of food. I know I've got plenty of weapons, plenty of ammunition, plenty of security. My water's taken care of. And you go, I'm never going to get to the end of prepping, because I've said many times, it's a journey, not a destination. But I can take the time and go, you know what? Let me take a day, a week, and enjoy everything I've worked hard for. I know this is all taken care of as best as I can right now. Sorry, Nance. Why not? Guys, for Sunday, I just want to say this. Remember to take a minute, stop and smell the roses, and enjoy the life while you have it. Because tomorrow, who knows? I don't, you don't, only the man upstairs does. Because when your time's up and God calls you back home, your time here is done. Enjoy it while you have it. Pinball out.